So it seems like the walls are actually closing in. Yeah, I genuinely think Obama's cooked. I'm just saying. Let's dive in.
Telling you something just crossed my feed that gave me chills. It has some dark and wide-ranging implications for what we're going to be covering in the next couple of months. Get ready for some bombshells. Dan Bongino's most chilling post yet, saying that he was shaken to the core and that Dan Bongino is literally scared about what they've just uncovered at the FBI as it pertains to deep state corruption. During my tenure here as Deputy Director of the FBI, I've repeatedly relayed to you the things that are happening that might not be immediately visible, but they are happening. The Director and I are committed to stamping out public corruption and the political weaponization of both law enforcement and intelligence operations. It is a priority for us. But what I have learned in the course of our properly predicated and necessary investigations into the aforementioned matters has shocked me down to my core. We cannot run a republic like this. I'll never be the same after learning what I have just learned. We're going to conduct these righteous and proper investigations by the book and in accordance with the law. We are going to get the answers we all deserve. And with any investigation, I cannot predict where it will land. But I can promise you an honest and dignified effort at the truth. Not my truth or your truth, the truth. God bless America and all those who defend her. Respectfully, Dan. This has been seen by 3 million people. It's got 20,000 reposts. It's only been up for like 2 hours. Right now, 94,000 likes. What could Dan Bongino be looking at? Well, I have 2 leads on this. And this, by the way, is something that is some privileged information. But what's going on right now is an enormous amount of classified and unclassified information has been sent over to the Department of Justice by the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, stamping out public corruption and political weaponization of law enforcement and intelligence operations. There's your clue. Dan Bongino's looking into Barack Obama. Dan Bongino's looking into Barack Hussein Obama and James Comey and what happened at the FBI. And he just got a mother load of information from Tulsi Gabbard, the Director of National Intelligence, and he's blown away at what he's seen and what they've uncovered internally in the building with the launch of hoaxes against President Trump and the weaponization of these federal law enforcement agencies. I think that Dan Bongino's uncovered something about Barack Obama. I think that Dan Bongino's uncovered something about Hillary Clinton. Dan Bongino obviously has also potentially gotten some new information about Jeffrey Epstein that may well be also this. I'm not telling you that I have a definitive bead on this. I'm just telling you that you can read the tea leaves, let's just say.
Can read the tea leaves. Dan Bongino came across some things that have deeply frightened him. Interesting stuff. What do you think it is? You think it's about this Obama situation? Do you think it's the Epstein situation? Do you think it's the Clintons? Or do you think it's a combination? Because that very well could be the case. Could be a combination of them all. Lots of different things. You know, you go in there thinking, yeah, there probably is some corruption, but then you figure out, oh, this corruption runs really, really, really deep. Not only does it span back to, decades, but also, people that you didn't even think were involved in this corruption are actually involved in it. I don't know, man. Y'all let me know.
I hate to say this, but President Barack Obama, there is now incontrovertible evidence that he was the spearhead of a seditious conspiracy to subvert the will of the American people and overthrow the United States government back in 2016. We absolutely must hold every one of these criminals accountable for the crimes that they committed. They are the most heinous crimes committed in American history. James Comey, John Brennan, Clapper, Rice, Biden was in the meeting in July 28th in the Oval Office. They briefed Barack Obama on Hillary Clinton's plan to, quote, tie Trump to Russia collusion lies. It consumed our national discourse for 5 years. It undermined a sitting duly elected president. It sabotaged administration. It framed a three-star general. It destroyed and ripped this country apart. We had a constitutional crisis, the likes of which I don't think any American can fully comprehend. It is atrocious, and every single one of them must be held accountable.
Yeah, and of course,
I agree. Every single one that was involved in this nonsense needs to be held accountable. Every single one. I mean, they literally wanted to bury Trump for stuff that they made up. Eye for an eye.
You'll hear people complain, well, oh, we can't do anything to them. They've escaped. You know, the statute of limitations is over on them lying to Congress and doing all this and that. The statute of limitations is not over on criminal conspiracy. And that's what this was. This was a criminal conspiracy to overturn election results, to defraud the American people and the president for the purposes of launching a coup against the elected government of the United States. And I've said this for like 8 years till I've been blue in the face. Until people go to prison for this. And by the way, not a single person has gone to prison. Not even the FBI lawyer who fabricated emails to put in a FISA warrant to illegally spy on a presidential campaign. That guy didn't even go to prison. And until people go to prison, we're going to be dealing with the consequences of this forever, because they're going to do it again. When people know they can get away with treason and sedition, when they can launch coups with impunity, they will do it again and again and again. So people have to go to prison. I don't care if it takes 5 years or 10 years or 50 years. People have to go to prison for this.
It's not like we haven't seen seditious conspiracy charges. The Oath Keepers were prosecuted for seditious conspiracy charges for the events of January 6, 2021. And the only problem they have is that they're not rich, powerful, well-connected people, and Democrats particularly in this case.
Yeah. Like I said, and let me clear this up too, because I was like, hold on, wait a minute. When I say eye for an eye, I mean they need to be prosecuted. I don't want anybody. Oh, well, see, he said that they should pine box. No. They wanted to bury Trump under a mountain of charges that they made up. So it's only right that they actually get charged with these real charges, and they go to prison for the rest of their natural lives. It's only fair. It's only fair, right? For the real crimes that they committed. I'm just saying.
President Trump is right when he said the immunity decision would help President Obama. But you know what it doesn't help him with? Impeachment. According to the Democratic Party and the House managers in the second impeachment trial, a former president, once out of office, is still subject to impeachment. In other words, they've argued Lincoln could be impeached, George Washington impeached, and certainly, as I predicted at the time, this would come back, they would rue the day, because President Obama could be impeached if this evidence really says what it says. And that it could also strip him of the immunity, because under Article 1, Section 3, Clause 7 of the Constitution, the Democrats argued it bars one from holding further office, and the language itself says you're still subject to criminal prosecution or indictment. So we'll see how that plays out.
I think he's going down, guys. I think he's going down. And the day that it happens, that'll be an amazing day. It'll be an amazing day. It'll be a day of celebration. Genuinely. Check out Bill O'Reilly.
Charges against John Brennan, the former CIA director, okay, under Barack Obama, are very powerful. I believe Mr. Brennan will be indicted by the federal government, okay?
So Obama's CIA director, Bill O'Reilly, thinks he'll actually be indicted. I'll take that. I will take that. I will take it, right? Because this is the thing, and this is why I say it'll be a great day, a day of celebration. Once one is prosecuted and thrown in prison for the rest of their lives, I think America will 1000% be fully back, right? Because now, in the future, when these leftists, when these globalists think they can come into America and try to do whatever it is that they want and try to stay in power by any means necessary, making up fake stories and lying about this and about that, making up fake charges. Now they'll know, oh yeah, I could spend the rest of my natural life in prison for this. It's not the way that it used to be where I could do certain things and get away with it because we're all connected. Nah. I watched Obama go to prison. I watched Hillary go to prison. I watched so-and-so be put on trial, and so forth. So, listen, that'll be the day that America is back, baby. And it's going to be glorious. It's going to be glorious. But not even just on that front is Obama cooked, right? But on another front, he's also cooked because America is not standing behind him anymore.
Obama did more for white liberals, illegal immigrants, and LGBTQ activists than he did for the black community. And then you have Trump, who did more for the black community than the black guy did, and you still state that he doesn't like black people. So you voted a man into office who had the same skin tone as you, talking about how you wanted a first black president, and that first black president didn't do anything for the black community except laugh in you guys' faces. I'm here to say that if you're a black president, you shouldn't be catering to black people. If you're a white president, you shouldn't be catering to white people. As a president of the United States, you should be caring about all the Americans and how you can help them all out. And I believe that is something that Trump did do, because Trump is not just like, hey, I'm just helping out the black community and just doing things for black people. Trump has been doing things for all Americans. Versus Barack Obama was like, oh, I'm black and I'm going to help you black people out. And then he got in office, and for 8 years he did the exact opposite. Yet there's no accountability for that. No one's calling him out. No one is stating that, hey, for a black president, you sure didn't do anything for the black community. If anything, he made it worse for black people. Obama had 8 years and he never fixed the justice system. Black men were still getting an unfair prison sentence under Obama. He never passed any major criminal justice reform. During President Trump's presidency, he signed the First Step Act, and 90% of those people that got out of jail were black men. So you mean to tell me that a white man during 2 years of his presidency signed a First Step Act which released 90% of black people, and in 8 years, Obama couldn't do that? During the 8 years that Obama was in office, HBCUs struggled financially. They were having an incredibly hard time with funding, and Obama would not secure permanent funding for them. But then the white man came into office that you guys couldn't stand so much, and he secured permanent funding for HBCUs. He also signed the Future Act and met with black leaders early in his term. The black home ownership rate dropped during Obama's presidency. Black people were struggling with getting homes, and it just was not good for them during the time that Obama was president. And then Trump came into office and pushed for opportunity zones to be pushed into struggling black communities to bring investments in. When Obama took office, black unemployment was around 12.7%. It barely dipped below 8% during Obama's term. Under Trump's first term, it hit a record low of 5.4%. You had a black president for 8 years that did nothing for the black community. But then you have Trump come into office and do all these incredible things for the black community, and you guys are still screaming that this man does not like black people.
Obama's been exposed. He is not the guy he claimed to be. Not the guy he claimed to be. But that's not the only front he's going to be having some issues here on Zoom. First off, right, he's got the whole corruption situation going on. Then he has, black people in America waking up to who he really was. Just America in general waking up to who he really was. But then also, there's this story.
Fox News Alert, we have new information tonight in the drowning death of Obama's personal chef, Tafari Campbell. The Massachusetts State Police responded to our FOIA request and released their report with some redactions. According to the report, Obama was on the scene shortly after Campbell went missing. Report also states an unmanned female staffer jumped into the water when Tafari fell off his board, but it was already too late. He disappeared. We also now know that Secret Service has surveillance footage of Campbell from Obama's compound moments before he entered the water. So we're going to see if we can get that, and we may have that for you. Again, we're very, very sorry for Tafari's family. That was a serious, serious tragedy.
Remember when that situation happened, they were all saying, mainstream media was saying, well, the Obamas weren't there. They weren't there. They were long gone somewhere else. Turns out Obama was there, or at least there shortly after, meaning he was close, if not already there, close enough, heading back home because he was there earlier. More and more stuff comes out that disproves the mainstream media narrative on a daily basis. It's almost as if, they just lie to us on a daily basis. Of course they do. Of course they do. But y'all get in the comments, man. Let me know what you're thinking. I feel like the walls are closing in on the Obamas. And they're soon to be trapped. Or at least Barack is soon to be trapped. With no way out. No way out. Public opinion is declining on him. He's got the whole death of the chef situation. The corruption situation that's boiling up. I don't think he wiggles out of this. I don't. May take some time, but I think he's going down, and I can't wait to see it. Y'all let me know your thoughts and your opinions in the comments. Make sure you guys smack that like button for the algorithm. I would greatly appreciate it. Y'all stay safe out there. Peace and love. I'm out.